John's from the US.
Peter's from the UK.
John lives in Kraków.
Peter lives in Warsaw.
We love Poland.
But we're not Polish. We're
Ish. Hello, and welcome to your favorite podcast and mine, Polish, the one where two guys from different backgrounds come together on a weekly basis to discuss the new lives they're making for themselves in Poland. I'm Peter, and it's my great honor to introduce to you a man whom I can describe with hand on heart, one of my top 10 dearest friends. He's the gridiron to my soccer. It's Jonathan Nett.
Peter, my friend from the UK, where the sun never sets, mostly because it never shows up. Good to be back. And how are you, sir?
I'm actually carrying a little bit of man flu at the moment, so apologies to the listeners who think I'm sounding a little bit nasal. I've been traveling and I just seem to pick up stuff now whenever I go overseas, so I think I'm going to have to start wearing a mask, just like in the dark old days of pandemic.
You know, you could do that. Or what about, have you ever thought maybe traveling around in a bubble? Because it seems every time you travel anywhere, you come back sick. So just start carrying a big bubble, inflate it, and walk around. See how it looks. I'd pay to see
Great,
that.
John. Yeah, I like that. You would pay to see that. Yeah, I think my version is somewhat more practical, to be honest. But I'll definitely consider the bubble option in the future. Thanks for that
You ever see
suggestion.
Bubble Boy? Have you ever seen this movie?
No, I haven't seen.
Okay, so
seen
I
Bubble Boy.
recommend it. I recommend it. It might inspire you.
Have you seen it?
Of course.
Well, it's not always a given, because whenever we've done film recommendations, there was one we did for our Winter Olympics special called Cool Runnings, and I was recommending it to you, and you said you'd seen it, and I hadn't seen it, and nor had you. It was like the worst film critics ever.
We're getting better, though. We're getting better.
There's only one way to go, and that is to get better. Listeners will be glad to hear that the amount of random ramblings that you've also kindly listened to these past couple of weeks will be somewhat tempered today, because we're going to bring to you today another guest.
Oh, and which guest is this, Peter?
This guest is a Warsaw-based Ukrainian application architect. I'm going to have to ask him what the hell that means. His name's Oleg Tyshchenko, and he's developed and published a very nice little app all about the history and culture of Poland. He sounds like a great fit for our dear little podcast, I think.
Way ahead of you. So I've already downloaded this application, and we've got some serious food topics to talk about.
Maybe before reaching his interview, it might be worth the audience downloading his app as well. It's called Polish Heritage, Quiz Explorer. I think it's only on Android right now. We'll talk to him later about that. But they'll get a better understanding, a better feel of what we're going to be talking about with Oleg later on, if they do that.
Okay, let's do it.
So, John, sometimes I fear that we may not get a guest. You know, sometimes people drop out, that kind of thing. And in anticipation of that, I've challenged ChatGPT to take our 5 big questions quiz.
Oh, you've asked ChatGPT to do this. So what were the answers? I'm very curious now.
Well, spoiler alert, the answers are actually pretty good.
Pretty good? Okay.
It horrifies me to say. Do you want to hear what he, she, it, or they said?
Okay, so the first question is, what do you love most about Poland? What did ChatGPT answer?
Do you want me to do this in my best robotic voice for quality, cutting-edge broadcasting purposes, or just my regular one?
Let's stick with your regular one.
Okay, yeah.
So, what do you love most about Poland, ChatGPT?
The quiet competence of everyday life. Things just work. Trains arrive. Bread is good. People don't oversell things. There's a kind of understated, we'll just get on with it energy that feels very real compared to more performative cultures. Also, seasonality. Poland feels different throughout the year. Winter isn't just cold, it's a whole personality. Same with summer.
That was cute. Okay, I
think
like
so.
that. Yeah,
It's almost
that's not
sentient.
bad. Yeah. No, I
Next
enjoyed
one?
that. And how about, second one, ChatGPT, what's your biggest frustration here in Poland?
The default setting of mild pessimism. You can have something objectively good happen and someone will still go, yes, but. It's almost like optimism needs to be smuggled in under a coat. That said, once you get past that outer layer, People are far warmer and funnier than the stereotype suggests, but it does make first impressions feel like you've walked into a room where everyone's already slightly disappointed. I mean, how does it know that? Bloody hell.
That's good. I like that. I'm
Yeah.
glad you thought of this. How about the third question? Favorite place in Poland for ChatGPT? Because I
Yeah.
assume ChatGPT has traveled all over the area.
Yeah, it's what it's done is actually grown humanoid legs and traveled
Mm-hmm.
to Missouri, which is the Missourian Lake District. It feels like Poland exhales there, ChatGPT tells me.
Okay,
Water, forests.
just for anyone listening, I think Peter's trying to say Missouri, not the state Missouri, for anyone who's confused here.
Yeah, you're right. Sorry, Mazure. That's very, very well picked up on that, John. Thank you. You've become my corrector in chief, and I appreciate that.
You're welcome.
ChatGPT goes on to say, water, forests, that slightly wild, unpolished beauty. You could sit by a lake with a beer and genuinely lose track of time in a way that's harder in cities like Warsaw or Kraków. Also,
Huh.
boats. Any place that casually involves boats automatically upgrades its quality of life score. Now, I don't know what to think about that. It's going to go rusty, isn't it, if it goes too near water?
Yeah, but still,
Or,
I would say this region of Missouri is not bad. I've
good
still have
shout.
not had the chance to go there.
A boys' trip
Mm-hmm. I think
in the
so.
future? Yeah, why not? Question 4.
Favorite Polish food or drink?
Now, the thought of ChatGPT eating or drinking anything is odd, but let's see what they say. Pierogi ruskie. No hesitation. Oh, sorry, does that remind you of a US state, or did I say that correctly?
I think that was a little bit better. Yeah.
Thank you. Pierogi ruskie. No hesitation. It's the perfect comfort food. Simple, filling, slightly dangerous in large quantities. There's also something deeply satisfying about how seriously Poland takes something that is, at its core, just stuff in dough. Controversial. Honourable mention to żurek, a soup that looks like a dare but tastes like a warm hug. Sounds like he's been listening into previous episodes, if you ask me.
I think so. Thanks, ChatGPT. How about the last question, my old fart? Let's do one song piece of music to add to our playlist and why. ChatGPT, help us.
Well, first of all, don't describe ChatGPT as an old fart. That's not very nice at all. Now, I'm going to go with Frédéric Chopin, specifically the Nocturnes. Not because it's the obvious Polish composer pick, but because it actually matches the vibe of the country. Reflective, slightly melancholic, but quietly beautiful. It's the musical equivalent of a long walk on a grey afternoon where nothing dramatic happens, but somehow it still feels meaningful.
All right, this one was a bit predictable.
I don't know if that's brilliant or awful. Oh, bloody hell, John. We're going to be made redundant by these ridiculous machines sooner than we think. Next, I guess they'll be out there in the parks grilling sausages and listening to disco polo.
Oh, not a disco
what a sight
polo.
that would... So how would that actually look? Would that be like pixels or humanoid robots? What is ChatGPT in physical form? Maybe little data centers or clouds? Who knows? It's going to be scary stuff, though.
I think so. I don't want to think about it too much, to be honest.
Maybe Oleg will help us. He's an IT guy.
Oh, okay. He'll definitely help us. He'll paint a prettier picture. See, Peter here probably still thinks it's going to be Terminator in the next 10 years.
Just a quick follow-up to last week's look at where you're listening to us from. Hello to all you listeners this week in Iraq, Kenya, Bangladesh, and Saudi Arabia. I'm not sure how you all managed to stumble upon us. It's great to have you all here all the same.
You know, Peter, I have to tell you a secret. Every time I take the plane, wherever I go, in whichever direction, I take our little cards you printed out for us, and I just toss them out the window. So they're pretty much everywhere in the world right now, mostly in the ocean.
If you plot those countries on a map, it's actually a straight line directly underneath the flight path of your latest journey. So I think that's amazing. Propaganda, I love it. It works.
It works.
Polish thing of my week.
All right,
John,
Peter.
Dear boy, what Polish thing has caught your eye, ear, or nose, or any other organ this week? Where am I going with that?
I'm not sure, but I do have a Polish thing of the week to talk about.
Ooh. Fabulous.
Now,
Thank God for that. Otherwise, it'd just be a very blank section.
yeah. Now, I might be a little bit late to mention this. So technically, this happened a couple weeks ago, but it does deserve an honorable mention. We recently had the 23rd edition of the Kraków Marathon. Have you ever had the chance to partake in a marathon or running activity in Poland, Peter?
No, I've not, and I just don't have the knees for it, to be honest. I have been inconvenienced by marathons whilst trying to travel through cities, but I'm afraid the only interface I've got.
The inconvenience, of course. Well, listen to this. This is the biggest, I would say the biggest event when it comes to any sort of races, marathons. It's in Kraków. And would you like to take a guess how many participants took place in this event this year?
Right. Not knowing much about marathons, I'm just gonna go for something like 5,000.
Oh, not bad. 9,000. 9,000
Yeah.
participants. It was the
Oh,
biggest one so far.
good.
Really cool, I have to say. They start out in
Yeah.
the main square of Kraków, the Rynek, and so about 42 kilometers, and then they finish back at the square. So they go through 9 different districts. I know we covered
Wonderful.
districts during 3 and 10, which I did fantastic in. So
No, I don't
yeah,
think you did.
I think I did. But who's keeping
I think
track?
I am.
And so
No, you didn't. You really didn't. Yep.
and this is considered a run through history because they pass through the Wawel Castle, a lot of different medieval architecture. They also have to follow, which this is the area I stood outside and participated by just waving, my hands, not actually run.
Good. That must have been exhausting.
Yeah, it was exhausting. But they followed the riverside, so all the way down to
Wonderful.
to the arena. What is that arena called, Peter? What is that famous arena?
I don't know. Maybe we should ask somebody who lives in Kraków.
That is called the. We might have to
Is
because
this
now I
the
have to
stadium?
remember. Yes, the stadium. Oh my gosh, hold on, we're editing this. Yeah, of course. Torun. Okay, so let me start that again. And then they eventually passed the Torun Arena. So you're going east of Kraków, making a big loop, and coming all the way back. So it was a really cool event. Again, it deserved a mention from a few weeks ago.
Yeah.
And
that sounds like
really
sounds like the kind of thing I'd like to watch on television, to be honest. I could imagine there's some spectacular footage, maybe, drone footage, that sort of thing from the city.
I remember while I was outside spectating, you had a few drones covering the area, all sorts of different drones. And I believe the highlight of the time I was spectating, it was a guy in a dinosaur suit. He actually ran an entire marathon in a dinosaur suit. Pretty incredible.
I mean, imagine how dispiriting it must be to sort of get beaten to the line by one of those, some sponge creature.
That's great.
We've got a guest coming on in a couple of weeks' time called Lucy Bollin. She's just run the London Marathon, so we'll be talking to her about that.
Oh, great. So good timing then. She can tell us a little bit.
Good timing.
How Peter and I can, attempt to walk more than 5 kilometers without stumbling into a pub.
And which fancy dressed runners overtook her.
Exactly.
My thing of the week, John, is a very simple, slightly naughty one this week. You'd be glad to hear.
Naughty
naughty
Polish
one.
thing of the week. Ooh, I'm excited to hear what Peter's naughty idea is.
I was walking through my local park, and where the footpath crossed a bike path, cyclists were being warned by a painted message on the path saying "Pieszy zwolnij," which translates as pedestrians, slow down. However, some wag had spray painted an errant R into pieszy, turning it into piersi. So the warning now reads, "Tits, slow down."
Oh, wow. Peter, that was a little bit naughty. And what did you do?
It was.
Did you show them your tits?
No, I mean, Well, I never thought about doing that. I don't know how that would have gone down. I think a little cold, to be honest. But moving on, because I'm slightly awkward in English, it's now time for
3 in 10.
That's
Oh no.
right. This is the part of the show where we take turns to ask each other to name 3 things in just 10 seconds. With the scores lying currently at 6-all, there's everything to play for. If one of us gets in front by 2 points, they nominate a Polish poem or song for the loser to perform on this podcast.
I'm ready.
The last couple of weeks, we've stepped outside of our adopted country to return to our respective homelands, Oregon in your case, and Suffolk in mine. But you're not just from the US, are you, John? Having been born in France? Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
Now, I've got another 3 in 10 overseas special for you. John, in 10 seconds, I'd like you to name 3 of the top 10 cheeses produced in the greatest quantities in France. Go!
Okay, here we go. I believe Comté is a very good one. Brie. You got a type of goat cheese.
No, try another
About
one.
Roquefort.
Quick.
Roquefort.
Oh, spot on.
That last one, Roquefort, is that really strong cheese that not a lot of people like, but I recommend if those want the challenge. Good question, though.
John, you did really well then. So top 3 in terms of quantity produced in France. And the third one's a surprise. Emmental, number 1, 150,000 plus tons annually. I don't know what that means.
Oh, wow.
Is that a lot? I guess so.
Let's imagine it is.
Camembert, number 2.
Okay.
And number 3, mozzarella.
Interesting. Brie and Camembert also is a little bit different. Sometimes often confused, but a little bit different from another.
Brie-type cheeses come in at number 5, just behind raclette. Is that the one they melt for the fondue?
Yes. So exactly. I mean, the dish can also just be called a raclette, but that's more popular in Switzerland. The dish.
Apparently it's very popular in winter. So
yeah,
there we go. John, well done. Successful. 7-6 is the score in 3 in 10. So hats off to you there, John. I know you're a big cheese fan, aren't you? I
do love
what's
cheese.
The word? Fromageophile? Fromageophile?
Fromageophile?
Does that exist?
Very good. I think so.
Our podcast is heavily cheese, sausage, and beer based. Definitely. Nothing wrong with that.
Agree. Nothing wrong with that.
Should we go out to an ad break now?
I think so.
Great. And we'll be back on the other side with Oleg.
Right. See you soon, Oleg.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to part 2 of Polish Podcast. And I'm delighted to say we've been joined by Oleg Tyshchenko, who's developed this wonderful app, which is are all about Polish history, culture, and it's called Polish Heritage Quiz Explorer. Welcome to the podcast, Oleg. Thank you for joining us today. Tell us a little bit about you, and then we'll talk about the app after that.
Yeah, thank you very much. It's really great to be here on my first podcast experience. As for myself, little story. I was born in Ukraine, Kyiv, and lived most of my years there. But as far as you may know, given that application, maybe someone already have tried it. I have a Polish origin, and it was always in my family. And it was always interesting for me to get back to Poland maybe one day. And before COVID, we decided with his wife to come back, but sadly, this COVID happened, and we postponed till 2022. And you know what also happened in 2022. Sadly,
Everything
we
changed
just
for
left
you.
before that happened. Yeah.
But you're very much Ukrainian, though.
Yeah, I would say
Right.
that I grown up in Ukraine. I had an education in Ukraine, so there is a big part of Ukrainian in me also.
John, you'll be interested here. I first came across Oleg on LinkedIn. He was posting about the app that he developed. And you put a very nice little story up there about how your mother kind of introduced you to Polishness? Can you tell us a little bit about your early life and how your interface with Poland started at quite a young age?
Yeah. My grandfather, he was Polish. He knew the language. He knew the culture more. My mother less. And given that uh, my mother grew up under USSR, and basically, it's not something that you could be proud of in USSR. But still, something transferred, especially from my grandmother. She was, for example, she was Catholic, but my mother was Orthodox, is Orthodox. Still not everything transferred, but mainly Polish culture transferred to me. Even in this Orthodoxy, we had some additional traditions that usually Orthodox people do not do. More emphasis on Easter, maybe. We had it a little bit different. And also, I knew some Polish words. I wasn't speaking Polish in general in my family. We wasn't speaking. There was other stuff like religion, Polish cuisine, of course. My mother knew, because there is there is borscht, borscht
Yes.
in Polish,
Mhm.
but there is a Ukrainian one and there is a Polish one. So I had a chance to try the Polish one at my family, because in general in Ukraine it is not something that Ukrainians know of.
And that
Uh,
was a question. That was definitely a
yeah.
question I had for you. Could you
Yeah.
tell us? Could you tell us the difference between the two?
Yeah, so the main difference, I mean, when this just a soup with watery soup, without ingredients. The Polish borscht is something you can drink, and sometimes we are adding in Polish borscht some gnocchi, stuff
Okay.
like
Mhm.
this lazy bread, as we call it in Ukraine. And
I
basically
like it.
that's it. Yeah. So it's a broth plus some basic ingredients. Ukrainian borscht is very rich in ingredients, and I mean, good borscht is it's might not be like liquidy. It's maybe like had a lot of stuff in it. Yeah.
Okay,
So
so a
like a
bit
bit
more
more of
like
a
a
yeah.
stew. So more
Go ahead.
ingredients inside. Yeah.
Yeah.
Were there any other tastes in the kitchen as a young man that you remember, tastes that were associated with Poland?
It's something that we also share with Ukrainian cuisine. Yeah, is
Mhm.
pierogi. Yeah, those in Ukrainian they're called vareniki. So it's
Mhm.
two different names for basically the same thing. But if you have seen, for example, in Poland, pierogi ruskie, and that's the thing. It's not Russian. It's actually the old name of Ukraine was Rus, and that's how it transferred to Poland, because Ukraine was a part of Polish Commonwealth, and it was called actually back then as a Rus Republic. Yeah, those are like Ukrainian pierogi in Poland, and they are with potato and onion. It was very popular, and one of the things that my mother liked is bigos. You may also try it,
Yep.
and she did it a lot, and it was something that was not typical for Ukraine also to prepare
Right.
bigos. Yeah, and there are soups like also not traditional for Ukraine, from cabbage. Kapusniak is called in Polish, a cabbage soup, and there is a soup from pickled cucumbers, and it's also not super usual for Europe. In Ukraine, it's sometimes people know this soup. There is also soup from lentils. You may saw it in Poland. I also tried it at my childhood, but I didn't like it very much. Flaky, yeah.
So
Very
is this
honest.
the reason that gave you this inspiration to create this app, this application? There's definitely a big section for the food. I've already looked through much of
Yeah.
it. I do love making food myself, and so tell us, is
So
this the reason? Yeah.
so one of the reasons why I started it, because I like when I came here, I also started preparing for my interview for Stali Pobut. You may know that it's like when you have a connection, when you have Polish relatives and you're connected to Poland, you can receive, it's like permanent residency based on your roots. I already passed that interview, so I have the Stali Pobut, and it's not like I was preparing, because a lot of stuff was already in me that I was ready to present to the interviewer, but I was interested to connect to the Poland more, because I mean, I grew up in Ukraine. I have a connection to Ukraine, but I wanted to start a new page in my life and continue this journey, and now connecting with different people, with different cultures. So I decided to make it for me first, so while I was investigating, and to share with others that have similar thing. And I started actually from history, from quotes. So every day there is a new quote. It is there are 400 quotes, I believe. So every day it will be unique, but next year maybe it will repeat. Yeah. So I may update the application.
A lot of Polish proverbs.
Yeah.
Put in there.
Nevertheless, I started from history, I started from stuff like that, but then I decided, why not to add some recipes? I know that it may be overwhelming. I know that application usually should focus on one thing, but I like it so much to add in some recipes. I'm also thinking to create additional application only about recipes, and make it more, edit more features, like useful features.
Yeah, I've seen some very interesting recipes I'd like to try, or at least attempt, and have my partner try it. I'll use her as a test subject and see if she likes it or
Interesting.
not. But I really like this application.
I imagine that's what the kind of thing you hoped for, Oleg. You want people to be inspired by it. You want people to move into areas where they perhaps weren't in before. So, and that also probably applies a lot to the culture and the history that you put on there as well. From my experience, looking at the app, every time I open it, I learn something new every day. So hopefully that's the kind of feedback. Yeah, I was going to say that's the kind of feedback you like to hear. So what about when I think about our Polish podcast, we talk a lot about food, but we also talk a lot about history, which of course is, there's a lot of it here in Poland. How did you manage to find all this knowledge to populate your app with? It's very comprehensive.
Yeah, I mean, first of all, I already knew some stuff, so I was reading books, and I'm continuing to widen my historian horizon. I'm watching YouTube, and to be honest, I used AI, but I haven't used it to generate everything. I was using it to format. So I collected materials that I wanted to add there, and I've used it as a formatting, because the AI right now is really good for structuring stuff, but it's not always good at telling you stuff, because it hallucinates, Yes. So that was my workflow. So I knew something. I knew that I wanted to tell, for example, about leaders. So I've found this timeline. I worked with AI to format it and to create JSON files that I put into my application. Sorry for being too technical, but yeah, to put it in my application. So that was my workflow. And I really was, for example, there is a game. I know that also it's maybe not very good. I want to maybe change it a little, add some Polish colors, because art for me is hard thing. But I knew this story about Polish. So yeah, I heard a lot about stories about Division 301, Division 303. There are songs, patriotic songs about them, and they did a lot of stuff in the British Army after the Poland lost the war. So I was inspired by their stories, how much they did, how much they contributed to air superiority of Britain in that war. So that's why I decided also to add that game, just to show there is not a lot of information there, but still you can play it. I think it's a little bit funny.
And how long did it take you to create this application? And do you still work on it on a daily basis, or update it?
No, I believe I finished it in 2025. I mean, I was doing it incrementally. Like I did some category. I've also played those games myself just to widen my horizons because some of the games are hard for me also. Yeah. Then I put it like on the shelf. I work my main work, for example. Yeah. Then I have new idea. So it took me almost a year to finish it.
Okay.
But as development wise, it maybe took me 1 month, total time. But through the whole year, I was adding something. I was coming up with something. AI was also developing, so it helped me to implement some additional features easier later on. But in total, yeah, 1 month of development, 1 year of thinking through what I need to have there. Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
We've talked about the history and we've talked about the cuisine. There's also a culture section on there as well. That's it's quite a broad area when it comes to talking about culture. So,
Mhm.
what were you looking for when you were putting together the contents for that section?
Yeah, I was visiting museum. I was reading about traditional stuff in Poland. In that part, like it's wonders of Poland. I also wanted to emphasize that Poland contributed greatly in some scientists. That Copernic was from Poland. There was also Hevelius that came up with this telescope, big telescope thing. Mostly what inspired me is some readings and museums. I think one of the things, if you want to like dive deep into the culture, if you want to dive deep into the history of country, you should visit a lot of museums. I need to fix that because I haven't visited a lot of them, but I will definitely fix it.
For the few that you have visited, could you recommend us any?
There is a big Museum Narodowy in Warsaw, very good. What I liked, and I saw this only in Poland. Maybe it is somewhere. I don't know how it is in England, but there is in Kraków Castle, and at the underground there is hall of all kings and even at the end the president that was killed in that died in that accident in Smolensk. Yeah. Kaczynski, and you can go through the whole hall and you can read the story of those guys, and actually it's also nice learning experience, and they like created built this great stuff, I think, to memorize their history.
You're in Warsaw currently, is that right, Oleg?
Yeah.
So, what's life like for you in Warsaw now? It's a modern city, isn't it? How do you find living in Poland today?
Yeah, I like Warsaw. I think it's a great city with a great infrastructure. I like that there are a lot of bicycle lanes. Actually, I was really surprised. I know that maybe Netherlands have a lot of bicycle lanes, for example, Germany, but Poland is also developed in this way. So I like to go on bicycle trips. And yeah, I mean, in terms of subway, maybe Warsaw is not. Warsaw doesn't have a biggest subway there, but ground transport is pretty developed. So
Yeah. I also lived in Warsaw a couple years. It was really nice to see the public transportation, at least. For the most part, it was always on time. I live in Kraków now, and it's quite rare that I have negative I would say they're usually always on time. And a good example, go to Germany and then come back and let me know how that goes.
Oh,
I think
that was the German railways are a disaster. Yeah.
Sorry, Germany, but
yeah. They have the biggest railway system in Europe, so I think maybe it has something to do with that. Yeah.
They have an excuse.
Maybe. I think I think they should have invested in it though, but maybe that's a subject for another podcast.
after
railway pod.
Yeah.
So Oleg, just going back to the app, it's not available on for iOS yet, is it? For Apple, is that right? Is that something you're working on?
Yeah, I will need mostly. I'm using a cross-platform framework to develop it, so I mean it's not hard to. But I need to publish. I need to register. So I will need to take some time to do that. So it's mostly like go to the Apple Dev site and configure everything. So I think soon it will be there.
Okay, so the listeners need to stay patient a little bit
Yeah.
longer.
Yeah, I know that a lot of people are using iOS also. I also use iOS. Actually, I have both systems because, yeah, one of my part of my career was mobile developer. So, yeah, I use both.
Okay. Okay.
I have to say, I've been very impressed with your postings on LinkedIn, Oleg. Now, most of the stuff I read on there is a sort of pseudo inspirational bullshit, but you cut through that with your posts. You're very philosophical. You're a great student of philosophy, by the sounds of it. So tell us about your interest in that.
Yeah, thank you for asking that. And I first of all, my interest stems from my education. So I'm not a I don't have a computer science degree. I have a degree in sociology. So sorry, hard
Mhm.
to pronounce for me. But so and I was in faculty of of theory and history of sociology, because there is also a faculty of mathematical statistics, which is also really interesting thing by itself. But yeah, I was there on history and theory. So and you know that a lot of time sociologists, they are also philosophers, because it's something that you think about and how society works. And one of the example, maybe ancient Greece philosopher Plato, he had like those philosophers are like one in a century, because how he deeply understood society. While I don't agree of his conclusions, because he was pro-authoritarian philosopher, he deeply understood society. He deeply understood how everything works. A lot of philosophers, they are also wanted to understand society, and it's something that when I have time, I really also want to understand myself. They have this degree of skepticism, and they like all of their life they were thinking, and I like that, and I think I can also uh, like get a knowledge from there, like
Yeah,
like
relate to
the
it.
well, you know. Yeah.
Mm, mm. So
Right.
you use a lot of this on a daily basis, would you say? Or do you, in theory,
uh,
try to
I
practice?
it helps me to navigate this world, because I think I also have a lot of I'm skeptic by the nature, and like I see a lot of stuff around, and I can just say the first. I mean, I can say the first thing that comes to mind, but a lot of stuff, like, it's not what it seems at the first sight. Yeah, you
Mhm.
need to understand. You need to understand a lot to vote, for example. Even I don't like, for example, in modern world how it goes, because we have a lot of populist people that do not have real ideology, do not have real understanding of those background processes when they go to the politics. And the another part, this is my sociologist part, I think what we lack today is that yeah, we can talk a lot, but a lot of politics, they do not have data behind it. So
Right.
you need to prove something. It's also that
It's just
philosophy
regurgitation.
teaches.
Sorry.
Yeah, yeah. If you're claiming something, you need to prove. And as a sociologist, I want to tell you that it's hard to prove a lot of stuff. In you need to have a good basis, good fundament there.
Well said.
The
Well
emphasis
said.
is on. It's very interesting that you, working in a very technical world, has such a sort of humanist worldview as well. Do you try to make those connections between humanity and tech in your life?
Yeah, and I think it helps me a lot, because STEM is a good thing. It provides instruments for the people to also navigate world in a certain way, to make some profession, makes a lot of stuff possible, like building big projects, not even in software engineering, but also in, for example, building a big buildings, like that wonders in Middle East, Burj Khalifa. Yeah, it was built by people.
Oh,
It was
yes.
designed by people. So you need that, of course. Without math, without physics, without chemistry, without a lot of stuff, it's not possible. But I think that advancement of STEM sciences is also not possible without humanistic scientists, without philosophy, because while those sciences, natural sciences, they have a lot of instruments to discover reality. They people that do not learn philosophy, they do not have instruments to widen their horizons, to create new instruments. Just say, okay, we centuries over centuries we use those objective methods like experiments, stuff like that. Maybe we need something new. I think and it saddens me, for example, one of my friends, he's in Sorbonne, he's chemist, and he's telling that philosophy lessons are less now. I personally don't like this. I think those scientists, they also need to learn philosophy.
It is really nice that you shared that. I think you're the first guest to talk a little bit about that, and I really do appreciate it. Really.
Yeah, absolutely do. We're gonna lighten the mood slightly now because Oleg, every guest that we have on, we ask them the same questions. But this is the section we call
5 big questions.
now. Just as a little bit of a heads up for you, before you joined us, I asked ChatGPT these same 5 questions. So it'll be very interesting. You won't know what those answers are, but it'll be very interesting to no pressure. It'll be very interesting to hear how you compare. So, John, do you want to fire away with question 1?
All right. And don't you love it when someone tells you no pressure, Oleg? That just puts more pressure, doesn't it? So
Just
here we
means
go.
pressure. That's all it means.
So question number 1, what do you love most about Poland?
It's a hard question because it's a lot that I can tell, but I would say that Poland, for me, I was in different European countries, and Poland for me is a balance of how it's easy here to live. In terms of bureaucracy, for example, there is bureaucracy here, of course, but in Germany, it's much more bureaucracy, for example, on the one side, and the order, because Ukraine, for example, is a country where you can like ignore a lot of stuff and and it brings a house. Someone likes it. I personally don't always like it. For example, in parking rules, we have parking rules in Kyiv, but everybody ignores them and nothing happens. Yeah, in Poland it's a little bit more stricter, but in the same sense, I feel free myself here. I know there are a lot of myths about Polish people being grumpy, but I think the Polish people are really friendly. Maybe over below this grumpiness, yeah.
That's
Scratch
great.
off the grumpy
I think that was actually
surface.
exactly. but I agree with you. The initial, when you first meet them, you might get that reaction,
Grumpiness.
but it's true. That initial grumpiness quickly goes away, and then you have great conversations.
Yeah.
Very good. What's your biggest frustration living here, Oleg?
My biggest frustration, I think, is weather at winter. I think there are two parts of it. First of all, it's most winters. This winter was actually good. It was sunny, but some of the winters are too gray for me. I know that Polish people themselves who can go for a winter to Vietnam or to Spain. I don't know. I know that Vietnam right now is popular destination, or to Spain. Yeah, to have those sunny days for them.
Yeah.
The second thing I think is the air in the winter. Actually, the second thing I think they can fix, but it can take time.
It's a common topic. Yeah. This one.
Yeah.
It's interesting you say Vietnam is popular for Polish visitors because we're getting a lot of downloads of the podcast from Vietnam. It's just I thought it was maybe AI bots, but maybe they are real humans.
Yeah, maybe.
So it's that's good though. So the winters they do tend to be a bit harsh. I agree. As I said, I live in Kraków now, so I think that's a good pick. The days do tend to to be a bit gray, but I suppose that can be many areas. Where I lived in Oregon, you don't necessarily get as much snow, but you get
Mhm.
these. Well, Peter can probably relate to this. You have these days where it's just this constant, not even strong rain, but it's this drizzle
Just
for
grayness.
days and
Yeah.
days and days
Mm,
of drizzle, and just that
yeah.
single shade of color for months on end. Oh, it's horrible.
But this
John,
winter,
do you remember?
actually, in Warsaw, it was great, I think, because it was sunny mostly, and it had a lot of snow. Yeah,
Yeah.
I like snow also.
Snow is
John, do you
nice.
remember Salvatore, our Italian guest who
Mm,
came on? He lives in the heel
absolutely.
of Italy,
Hmm.
beautiful part of the world, and he said the thing he missed most about Poland was the seasons. You know, it
Uh-huh.
sounds ideal living in this beautiful,
Mm.
mild country and hot weather, but
Mhm.
he really missed those changes of season. You know, the colors in the leaves and the
And
breathing in
I
the
have
cold air.
Yeah, and I have to say, I've noticed more in Poland during Easter and right after Easter, you can see people quite literally, the entire atmosphere changes. People
Mhm.
realize that the spring is coming, and I've never noticed that
Hmm.
before in back when I lived in other countries. So they really appreciate that winter is now gone. That's fun.
Yeah,
And okay. How about
John,
question number 3? Are
you
we doing it?
you asked this one. Yep.
Favorite place in Poland? Oh, like where would it
Oh,
be? Do you have a
yeah,
secret destination?
it's also a hard question. I like a lot of regions in Poland. Warmina Mazuria, for example, it has a
Mhm.
great sightseeing destination, land of lakes, But I also like places around Gdansk. So I also lived for some time in Sopot and in Kolobrzeg. It's
Oh.
pronounced Kolobrzeg, Kolberg in Deutsch.
Mhm, mhm.
Uh-huh.
And I personally do not swim in Baltic Sea, but I like going there in autumn, maybe
Mhm.
sometimes in winter. So you
Hmm.
can go for a walk, and there are a lot of pine forests around, and I like this
Yes.
balance of you have a forest, you have actually there are dunes in that region, so you can have those nice sightseeing walks around the sea. Yeah.
Yes,
Okay.
beautiful.
No.
You don't dip your toe in, not even a big toe in the cold Baltic water.
Yeah, I've deep, but never swum. Yeah,
Just a dip.
just the
So
dip. Yeah.
we're moving on to our favorite subject here. Favorite Polish food or drink?
From the food, of course, my preference is, it's very simple. It's I don't know how it will be in English, but in Polish, smalec. It's like
Oh yes,
when you
it's
boil
the
the
fat, isn't it?
feet. It's a fat of the pig boiled and then mixed
Mhm.
with different ingredients. Yeah, and
Mm.
Mm.
you can use it like a butter on the bread with those
Uh-huh.
salty ingredients, and it's usually black bread with some pickles. It's one of the my favorite, and of course Poland is popular and. Something that actually we also have in Ukraine, but I think Poland is better here for sure is smoked meat, smoked
Mm,
sausages, kielbasa, wiedzona kielbasa,
mm,
tak?
mm.
From Silesia, from other regions, I like it, but I do not eat it. It's not super healthy, so I do not eat it a lot. Yeah,
Yeah. Making me hungry
Where
though.
smalec is healthy, is that what you're saying?
yeah, for sure. Smelling for sure.
And so our last question for you today, could you give us one song or piece of music to add to our playlist? What would it be?
I would recommend, and it was something that I've opened in the Poland. Is Mary Spolsky. She is popular, but not popular, for example, as Sana. You may heard Sana. And I liked a lot of her songs. They are some of them are provocative, some of they are like really artistic. It's some mostly I would say it's a rap or hip hop. But it's interesting take on that
Okay.
genre. Mary Spolsky. And of course, there are some of the songs of Sana that I liked. She is singing verses of Szymborska, the poetess, famous Polish poetess. And there is not so famous Polish poetess Ginchanka. She also had one song of her verse.
Okay.
So
Sounds to me
that's
like
what I can recommend here.
yeah, it sounds to me like it's the lyrics or the words that mean that speak to you more than perhaps the music does.
Yeah.
Is there a particular track by Mary Sapolska that you want to recommend for our listeners?
Miło było pana poznać, and she has also albums that I really like. It is called Jestem Marysia i chyba się zabiję dzisiaj.
Great. Well, I will link to that in the show description. And just explain to us what this music means to you, please, Oleg.
First of all, it was something that I heard when I came to Poland. Something that I heard for the first time here. It was one of the first music that I heard here, and I like the beat. I like her texts, and for example, this album that I recommended. It's I like that it is personal for her, and she explains her life. I mean, it's not particularly Polish. It's personal stuff of this artist, but I like how she's opened up in those tracks, and also yes, she has one of the newest tracks, Kocham Polski. I love Poland. I also like that. You can watch a clip. It's she is a really sarcastic person. That's also one of the things that I liked about. Yeah.
That's a very, very broad and intelligent answer. A bit like our entire conversation with you, Oleg. It's been an absolute pleasure talking with you today. Thank you very much for joining us. We wish you all the very best in your future ventures, and we'll look out for seeing success with the app. And hopefully, when you go onto Apple as well, we'll get some more downloads and send them your way.
Yeah, I will post on LinkedIn. It was really great being here. It was a really interesting conversation, and thank you. And I wish you a great day.
Yeah, nice
Thank
to
you,
meet you,
and
Oleg.
It's a Friday.
When Oleg listens back to our intro, John, and hears me talking about pixels barbecuing sausages, he's likely to deeply regret he ever agreed to come on this show. I don't know what you think.
I think we had a good time. I know, for one, that after this podcast, I'm going straight to the store, opening up his application, and going through his recipes. I think I'm going to try to make one of them.
Yeah, why not? There's a lot of food in there. Absolutely. Something maybe with sausage, beer, and cheese.
Absolutely.
So I think he's the future and not us humble journalists or language teachers. I think thankfully I'll be retired or dead before tech comes along and makes me completely redundant, or I hope so at least.
Yeah, we might have a small age gap, but I am right there with you. I'm just waiting for that, for ChatGPT to start teaching entire classrooms.
Yeah, it's not that far away, John, sadly. Now, normally at this stage, I say, let's allow the listeners to get on with their lives as though they somehow, I don't know why I'd expect this, they put everything on hold for an hour each week just to
They
hang
have.
on our
They
every words. You
They
think
absolutely
so? You really
have.
think so?
I know so.
I think that's more of a little, it's probably me thinking it's more of like a throwback from the old days of, TV and radio before the on-demand culture became en vogue. Of course, they're all out there. What are they doing? Jogging?
Yeah.
Running marathons? Yeah,
Yes.
driving?
Right.
Exercising, commuting? Whilst
All of the
you're,
things which
silky,
we do not do.
all of the things, well, we don't do any of that. Driving, I do. But
That's true.
Yeah, nothing to be proud of. All the time with your silky tones pouring audio honey straight into their ears. In fact, why didn't you write to us to tell us how and where you consume the Polish podcast? You can do that via email at
peter@po-ish.eu.
Alternatively, I'd love you to visit our website where my weekly blog is woefully underread. Come on, people. It contains some of my best ever work. I've been writing for 40 plus years and it's peaked here. Indulge me today by visiting
po-ish.eu.
And finally, follow us on all the usual socials. And please remember to like, subscribe, share, and comment on our content. That really helps our visibility and grows the Polish community in Poland and globally, as we've heard. John, you got any other business before we hit the gin and tonics?
I think that's it. I've got gin and tonic on my mind and my mind on gin and tonics. So that's it.
Great, let's go there then. All we have to do is to remember to tell our listeners to remember that we're not Polish, we're Pole-ish. I'm doing it on my own now, am I?
Yeah,
Oh,
that's because you're all over the place.
Oh, thank you. Good.